Hello everyone, hope you're all doing well and welcome back to my little Wonderland. So today I'm going to take you all down the rabbit hole for another sewing project that I've been working on. I decided I wanted to tackle making a peasant style skirt. This is the kind of skirt that I've been wearing on and off since I was a teenager, and when I was looking through my fabric stash I found two fabrics that I thought would be perfect to go together for this project. So I'm going to take you all along and I'll show you how I made it. So the fabrics that I'll be using for this project are two different kinds of cotton. I have a cotton cheesecloth and I have a cotton lawn, both of them in a dusty pink color. For the skirt, I'm going to be using a circle skirt pattern for the top of it. I'm doing this just to decrease some of the bulk that would be going around the top of the skirt, and this will also still give it a lot of flow and drape to it as well. I realized when I was making the pattern I forgot to add seam allowance, so here I'm just adding in an extra 1 centimeter of seam allowance just onto the sides. Now that I've got the new piece that I've added with the seam allowance, I'm going to use this as my pattern piece to cut out the rest of the pieces. I'm going to need to cut out another 7 as I've done this into 8s. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to get them all cut out. Okay, so with the pieces of the circle skirt cut out, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to divide up the rest of the cheesecloth into the layers that I need. So each tier of the skirt is going to be 22 centimeters. This is including 1 centimeter seam allowance for each side of the skirt, so it should be 20 centimeters by the time we've completed it. I'm using a pencil for this. I did try to use my fabric marker, but the marks wouldn't really come up on the fabric. And hopefully once this is completed, you won't be able to see it because it'll be on the cut lines. So I've gone ahead and I've also marked out the cotton lawn with the same measurements, and now I'm just going ahead and I'm going to start cutting out both the fabrics. I find it easier to lay it out on the paper like this because it means that I can do each layer as I go, rather than trying to cut one layer at a time and then trying to re-roll it back out just with the amount of length that I've got. Now I have all the pieces cut out, I'm going to start putting everything together. I've got the tops of the circle skirt, all the layers cut out, and also the waistband. So I'm going to start off by pinning together the pieces of the circle skirt, and I'm going to stitch them together using a French seam. Okay, so the top of the skirt is now completed. I've also gone ahead and done the waistband, and I've added in some stabilizer as well, just to help with the structure of the waistband. I've gone ahead and I've stitched the waistband on. I've also folded the inside of the seam down as well, just to make it neat, and I've left a small hole for the elastic. So what I'm going to do with the elastic is I'm going to use a safety pin on one end, and I'm going to use this to help me to feed the elastic through the waistband, and then once it's together I can stitch the elastic up and I can seal the hole. So in order to do the gathering for the skirt, I'm going to be using this tool. This is what's called a gathering foot. It goes onto just your standard kind of sewing machine, but be warned though, this thing has a little bit of a tricky learning curve. It's simplistic in kind of how it kind of works, but it's very much prone to shifting, especially when you're trying to do this on thicker fabrics. It also takes a bit of adjustment on your machine. I've broken several needles using one of these. It does work phenomenally when you can get it to work, but just be warned, if you do end up getting one of these, just practice with it a bit and expect to lose a few needles. Okay, so here I am using the gathering foot to gather up one of the layers of the skirt. What the design of this foot does is that it'll count how many stitches it puts into the fabric, and then the mechanism will create a small pleat. You can decide on it how many stitches you want. You have three options. You have 1 stitch, 6 stitches, or 12 stitches. I like to go for the 6 stitch. This gives still quite a nice full pleat, but it's not as full as if you were to do the 1 stitch or the 12 stitch. The 12 stitch will give you a very light kind of gather, and the 1 stitch will give you a very full kind of gather. So here's what the layer looks like after I put it through the gathering foot. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to attach this onto the base. So here I've attached the first layer onto the skirt. I've also gone ahead and I have overlocked the seam. This just helps to kind of neaten up the seam a bit and also take some of the bulk out, and it also helps to keep it together. Now that I've done the first two parts, I'm going to start working on the third and fourth layer. So the next layer will be the cheesecloth layer, and the bottom layer will be a cotton lawn layer. With the cotton lawn, I'm actually going to go ahead and I'm going to overlock and I'm going to hem it now before I attach it. This will just help later on down the track because this means that it'll be easier to work with now rather than when I have it attached to the skirt. I've actually gone ahead and I've ironed down the seam allowance. I've done a rolled hem so that the overlocking is encased in the hem. I'm just going ahead now and I'm going to stitch it down. So here is what the hem looks like on the skirt. Now that I've done this, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to gather this together and attach it to the other cheesecloth layer. So here I've gathered up the final layer and I've added them to the cheesecloth. Now I just need to gather the cheesecloth up and I'm going to combine the two parts together and I'll show you the finished result. Okay, and here is the finished result. I'm really happy with how this turned out. It's so flowy. I went absolutely crazy with the layers. I really didn't think that it would turn out like this, but in all honesty, I love it. I absolutely love flowy skirts, so this is perfect for me. It is very light. It's also unfortunately very see-through as well. My partner has told me I'm gonna have to make a slip to go underneath this. Just because of how I've done the waistband, I can't really add a underskirt, so I'll just make a separate slip to go into this. Apart from that, it's going to be perfect for spring and summer. Another thing, putting on the last two layers almost killed me. The cotton, the cheesecloth did not like going through the gathering foot, I found, and it shifted the gathering foot a couple of times, and I ended up breaking 2 needles. I did get there in the end though, but it was a long process to get it finished. But yeah, apart from that, I'm really, really happy with how this turned out. It's turned out so much better than I thought it was going to. But yeah, thank you all for coming along with me on this one. And I hope to see you all again soon when I come up with my next project. Bye.